Chapters 26 Travel the News TTN Script. I got to be a news archer with my co archer Alex Fisher for the exciting Travel the News broadcast. We started the show with big smiles and lots of energy. Alex welcomed our viewers, and then I introduced our first reporter, Emily, who had a story about the dogs at Gateway. Emily's segment was all about how special it is that Gateway allows dogs at school, something most schools don't do. She talked about Apollo, Dixie, and Duke, three calm and friendly dogs who brought joy to everyone. I smiled watching her report and the claims of the dogs playing around campus. But to be honest, even though Emily seems friendly on camera, she isn't always nice to me off camera. Sometimes she's pretty mean, which can make working with her a little tough. After her story, I said, "There's nothing like having dogs at school to make the day better." Then we move on to Woody, who gave an update on the basketball team. Woody shared interviews with players and coaches. He said the team felt good about the season and encouraged everyone to cheer them on. His excitement really showed, and I hoped the team would have a great year too. Next, it was my turn to report from Houston. I talked about a great event at the George R. Brown Convention Center, where thousands of students got free school supplies. It felt good knowing kids who needed help could start the year ready. I also shared news from Metroth Hospital, where Dr. Collins is working on projects to make healthcare better by getting doctors more involved. It was inspiring to hear how people are trying to improve hospitals for everyone. After that, Chris came on with some fun Texas news. She told us that Dairy Queen in Texas has its own menu with burgers, not just ice cream. That made me hungry just hearing about it. Then she shared a funny story about new bromofuels about Brianna, a woman who made a squirrel spa so squirrels could cut off in the summer. She sets it up every day and takes it down at night so dogs don't mess it up. That story made me laugh. It was one of my favorites. Alex came back with some good news from around the US. He talked about National Good Samaritan Day, which celebrates kindness and helping others. We told stories about people who save lives and help their communities. Then Alex shared exciting news about US Paralympic badminton players making history in Paris. It showed how hard work and patience can lead to big success. Finally, Luke shares stories from Canada and the Caribbean. In Nova Scotia, a woman helped save a group of dolphins stuck on a beach. And even though Hurricane Beryl hit parts of the Caribbean, volunteers came together to help people recover. That brought a message of hope. As we end the show, Alex and I thank our viewers for turning in and promise more exciting stories next time. Being a news archer for Travel the News was such an awesome experience, even if working with teammates like Emily wasn't always easy. It showed me how powerful it is to share good stories and bring people together from all over the world. Chapter 27 Summer of 2022. The summer of 2022 was one of the most exciting and busy times of my life. It was full of adventures, learning, travel, family time, and getting stronger, both in mind and body. To start the summer, I took an amazing trip to Alaska. I had never been somewhere so wild and beautiful. While on a boat ride, I saw a humpback whale rise out of the ocean and splash down with a huge wave. It was the first time I had ever seen something like that in real life. I also saw a bear on land, just walking calmly through the trees like it owned the place. Being so close to nature made me feel small, but also excited. I couldn't believe I was really there. After Alaska, I got ready for my big summer camp experience. I went to Camp Judea, Texas, near Wimberley, Texas, for 3 weeks. 3 full weeks. It was my first time staying away from home that long, but I had a good time. At camp, we didn't just stay in Texas, we traveled all over. We went to places like New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and even more places. We hiked in canyons, saw amazing mountains, and visited landscapes I only seen books before. I've only seen it in books before. I got to bond with other campers, laugh around campfires, and try new things every day. When I got back home, I kept myself active. I went on runs and walks around my neighborhood just to stay healthy and enjoy the fresh air. It helped me clear my mind and feel good. I also went to the park to shoot some hoops. Playing basketball helped me stay focused and improve my coordination. One of the most fun parts of the summer was practicing field hockey with my older sister. She was really good, and I wanted to be just like her. We practiced passing, shooting, and running drills. I surprised myself with how quickly I picked it up. I was actually pretty good. But summer wasn't just fun and games. I also made a time to study. I practiced geometry by typing definitions and notes on my laptop. I wanted to stay sharp and be ready for school. It wasn't always easy to focus, but I was proud of myself for sticking with it. Later in the summer, our family went to a Mexican restaurant to celebrate one of my baby cousin's birthday. The food was delicious tacos, rice, chips, and salsa, and the whole family was there. We sang happy birthday and had cake. Spending time with my cousins always makes me happy. As the summer came to an end, I started preparing myself for 10th grade. I organized my school supplies, thought about my goals for the year, and told myself I was ready for the next chapter. I had grown a lot over the summer, not just in skills, but in confidence too. That's what I did over the summer of 2022. It was a summer I'll never forget, and even though summer 2023 had already happened, I'll always remember how much I learned and experienced during that special time. Chapter 28, Famous Speech Project, Pope John Paul II. This project was from my junior year in my communication class. It was called the Famous Speech Project. My teacher gave us a big assignment. She told us to pick a famous speech from someone we admire. We had to explain why it mattered, practice reading it, and then perform a short part of it from memory in front of the class. It also had to be about a minute long. We needed to create four goal slides for our presentation. I choose a speech by Pope John Paul II. I picked him because he stood out for peace and had strong faith. He gave a lot of powerful speeches, and I like how he spoke to bring people together and stand up for human rights. I practiced his words over and over again, trying to get the pronunciation right, the tone, and the pacing. I was nervous, but I was also proud of the work I put in. Slide 1 was my intro with a picture of the Pope and info about when and where he gave the speech. Slide 2 explained the impact of the speech and how it reached people. Slide 3 was about the emotion in the speech and how he connected with the audience. Slide 4 was my personal reflection about why I chose it. On the day of my presentation, I was ready, but during my speech, someone in the audience interrupted me. A girl named Parker tried to help me pronounce a word. She might have meant well, but it didn't feel like help in the moment. It felt embarrassing and disrespectful, and it really upset me. That day at lunch, I sat by myself feeling angry and annoyed. I was tired of people cutting me off or trying to correct me in front of others. Later, Parker apologized to me. I told her it was okay, but deep down I didn't mean it. I knew she probably caused more drama later, and she did. I wasn't surprised, even though I accepted her apology on the outside. I kept my guard up after that. I didn't enjoy this project much, but I did learn something. I learned how to deal with pressure, how to speak clearly, and how to keep going even when things don't go as planned. I also learned that not every apology feels real, and not everyone changes, but that doesn't mean I can't stay strong and keep moving forward. In the end, I got a 94 on the project right after Parker gave her presentation. I was proud of my grade, even if the experience wasn't perfect. Chapter 29, The Freedom Riders. On February 7, 2023, I was sitting in my speech communication class with Miss Jones. When we start watching a movie called Freedom Riders, I didn't know how much about it at first, but as the movie began, I was drawn into the story. It's about a girl named Eva and her classmates who live in a world filled with bullying, gangs, racism, and violence. Right away, I could tell this movie was going to be emotional and powerful. Eva had a hard life. She had been bullied and even punched in the face. Her life was filled with pain, and she didn't trust many people. But then a new teacher came along, Erin Gruwell, a young woman from Newport Beach who started teaching ninth and 10th graders at a tough school. Erin didn't know what she was getting into, but she never gave up on her students. At first, the class didn't like her or trust her, but Erin stayed patient. She brought books, gave them journals to write in, and slowly helped them find their voices. As we watched the movie, I started to feel hopeful, even though the students have been through so much. Erin believed in them. She told them that they were going to stay together through junior and senior year. That was one of my favorite parts of the movie, when Erin made it clear that she wasn't leaving them behind. It showed how much she cared. The class even raised money together so they could buy books and go on field trips. They were no longer just classmates, they were like a family. One character that really stood out to me was someone who reminded me of a protector. They had a kind heart and showed strength. That character would be on my good side because they seemed like the kind of person who would understand me and help me with my feelings. There were times in life when things get overwhelming and you need someone like that who can lift you up without judgment. Erin was another character who went through a lot. She didn't just deal with her students' struggles, she also had to deal with pushback from other teachers and people who didn't believe in what she was doing. But she kept going and she never lost faith in her students. Because of her, many of the students who were expected to fail ended up graduating, going to college and making something better of their lives. After the movie ended, I sat quietly thinking about what I had just watched. In speech communication, that day, some, that day, something clicked for me. I realized that storytelling, rather through speeches, movies, or journal writing, can change people. It helps us see each other's pain, understand someone's life, and maybe even feel less alone in our own struggles. In conclusion, Freedom Writers is a powerful movie about change, hope, and never giving up. Watching it on February 7th, 2023, in Miss Jones's speech communication class, I learned that anyone, no matter what their past looks like, can grow, graduate, and go to college. I also learned that one person who believes in you, like Earn, can make all the difference. Chapter 30: The Environment Around Me. Everyone needs the right environment to grow and succeed, and I've come to understand what works best for me. I need people around me who makes me feel supported and understood, especially when I'm going through challenges. This kind of environment helps me stay focused, positive, and motivated. Social energy is a big part of what I need. I feel better and more connected when I'm around people who encourage me and make me feel like I belong. When I get the chance to join group activities or work with a team, I feel more confident and included. Being accepted and supported by others gives me the boost I need to do well. Emotionally, I do believe when I'm allowed to share how I feel, it's important for me to be around people who understand me and are willing to listen. When others are responsive to my feelings, I feel stronger and more hopeful. It helps me handle stress and stay balanced. Expressing my emotions instead of holding them and lets me think more clearly and grow. When it comes to assertiveness, I feel more secure when there is a clear leadership. I do well when people around me show strong direction and confidence, especially when I look up to them. I feel motivated when I know that others recognize my strengths. I wanted to be accepted and respected by people who are successfully and who lead with confidence. That gives me courage to take on challenges. In terms of thought and decision making, I like to take my time. I don't rush into things. I like to look at all the details and think through the outcomes before I make a decision. Having enough time to think things through is important to me. It helps me make smarter choices and keeps me from making mistakes. I try to think about how everything I do could affect others and my future. In conclusion, the environment around me matters a lot. I thrill when I feel accepted, supported, and free to express my feelings. I do better when there are strong leaders I can look up to. And when I have time to think things through with the right environment, I believe I can succeed in school, relationships, and life.